Hello everyone, good morning and welcome back to Sports Today. This is a little bit of a unique edition of the Morning Rant that we're bringing you because normally it's always our first video of the day. Fortunately or fortunately, really depending on how you're looking at it, the India versus England Test series has started, which means we joined you all much earlier than that. But don't you worry, we're always going to be here bringing you this video to update you on all the latest happenings in the world of sport that you may have missed out on whilst you were catching up on some all-important rest. Because whilst you need rest, I need rest, we all need rest. The world of sport doesn't really sleep. There's always something or the other going on, isn't there? You don't quite know what all is happening and it's impossible to keep track at all times. Well, luckily for you guys, you don't have to, because that's what we're going to do. And in this video, we're going to give you a nice little roundup of all the things that have been happening. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. And let's start with the India-England test. And Nasser Hussain has actually questioned England's approach when it comes to the bowling lineup they've picked. You remember that England are playing 4 pure bowlers, but of those 3 are spinners and there's only 1 full-time pacer in a Mark Wood. There is no other pacer, not even an all-rounder, not even a part-time medium pacer, dibbly-dobbly, nothing. It's only Wood, the rest are spinners, and you have a 4th spinner in Joe Root. So what Nasser Hussain said when talking about this, he's saying that, it's not probably the best idea always to overwhelm or overdo it with spin when it comes to India, because you've seen that at times Indians don't really struggle a lot against spin. In fact, more often than not, you'll see that in the previous eras, even some really great spinners oftentimes had trouble in India. He gave the example of Shane Warne, saying that the Indians were never really troubled by Warne at home, which is why if you look at Warne's records at home, in India that is, they're not that great. So it's a good point to make, but it's also one that's worth noting that, you remember Australia doing the same thing, playing with 3 spinners. And the way Indian pitches are now versus how they were in Warne's time, in today's day and age, you give the ball a few revs and on these Indian pitches, you just know it's going to turn a mile. So I think it's less about skill and more about, let's say, having enough spinners there to do damage. Because again, you see who are the ones who are most effective on pitches like these. It's the finger spinners. They don't need to get as much effort. You don't need to give it that many revs. You don't need to flight it. Nothing of the sort. Just ensure you hit the right lengths and ensure that you get enough spin on the ball at the pitch to the rest. That is, of course, the philosophy, and that's perhaps why England went for 3 spinners. Now, moving on from the England side of things and looking at what India have done, they have released a certain Avesh Khan, who you remember was part of the test squad. They've released him from the test squad to go and play a Ranji Trophy match because, of course, Madhya Pradesh will be playing their match soon. And in a way, it might seem like a bit of a weird thing to do, but it does make perfect sense. Avesh isn't featuring in the 11, and truth be told, he was never in contention. If it had to be anyone else who was the 3rd choice seamer to be coming in place of either a Bumrah or a Siraj, it would have more likely been Mukesh. Avesh is at best a 4th choice pacer at this point in time. So given that he's not going to be playing in this test match, you might as well as release him, let him go and get some cricket under his belt. Fair, sensible thing to do from the BCCI. Moving on now from this particular series to an issue that only cropped up rather recently and one that's worth talking about. Shakib Al-Hasan has been diagnosed with a rare eye condition in his left retina. Now, you remember that previously Shakib has talked about having faced issues with blurry vision and things like that. In fact, I remember he said it during the World Cup that he was playing throughout the World Cup pretty much with blurry vision, which, I mean, on one hand, you can call it a little bit of an unwise decision, but it does also show you the man's dedication. But this retinal condition has now become, it's not severe and it probably won't impact his playing career, but he has gone to Singapore to consult an expert to see what exactly can be done about it. So you hope that it's nothing too serious and that it doesn't impact his career, because again, Shakib, love him, hate him, he is box office, is someone, and even aside from all the antics, is a very, very fine cricketer. You'd hope his career isn't curtailed like that. But switching our focus now from the world of cricket to the world of football, and Liverpool fans can rejoice because their 1-1 draw against Fulham in the Carabao Cup second leg semi-final ensures that they won the tie 3-2 and that they have booked their spot in the final against Chelsea, which will of course be taking place in Wembley. Now, both of these teams did in fact contest this particular trophy in a couple of seasons back. It was the 21-22 season wherein Liverpool actually played Chelsea in 2 separate cup finals. It was the Carabao Cup as well as, of course, the FA Cup. On both occasions, it was Liverpool who triumphed. This time around, let's see what exactly happens, but it is definitely going to be a mouth-watering final for sure. Incidentally, both these teams will also be taking on each other the next time they're in Premier League action. So plenty of Liverpool-Chelsea action, especially if you're a fan of both of those teams. You're going to enjoy that for sure, so keep an eye out for that. For more other domestic competitions, the Copa del Rey, Spain's version of the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, was also taking place. A big upset. Barcelona were beaten 4-2 by Athletic Bilbao, which ensures that the Catalonian club are out of the tournament. Oof, big blow. And talking about one blow after another, I mean, Barcelona are already under so much pressure, and even their manager Xavi is under a lot of pressure because results have been in a bit of free fall recently. They've not been good enough by any standards, but the pressure is constantly mounting because, again, they have been losing games that they're expected to win, and even if Xavi had to try and kind of fend off the pressure, good run in cups is always a very good way to ensure that there's a little bit of pressure off you as far as the league position is concerned. Now he doesn't even have that cushion, and it seems unlikely they'll be able to make that much of a splash in the Champions League. Definitely worth watching how exactly it is that Barcelona choose to go about with their, let's say, future of their manager. It'll be very interesting to watch. Speaking of Catalonian football clubs, another club ended up suffering a similar downfall when Girona, who of course have been this season's La Liga fairy tale of sorts, they also ended up getting knocked out of the Copa del Rey thanks to a 3-2 loss to Mallorca. Now, this is a bit of an upset because, again, if you see how Girona have been doing in the league recently, you'd have expected them to make a good fist of things in the cup as well. Unfortunately, that has not happened for them. So it is, let's just say, a bit unfortunate, but I think it's also good for them because they're currently top of La Liga, and they might just be able to, let's say, get in that position, earn a better league position now that they are not focused on the cups. At least that's how I feel about it. You can tell me if you feel differently or if you think a cup run would have been good for them. Switching focus now to the world of Indian sports or other sports in general. Rohan Bopanna, well, he has broken his own record of becoming the oldest man to enter a Grand Slam final in the Open era. He had broken that record or made that record during the US Open of 2023. Now, in the very next Grand Slam, the Australian Open of 2024, he's only gone and done it again. Him and Matthew Ebden have made it to the finals after winning a pretty tight semi-final encounter against an unseeded Chinese duo. But hey, good accomplishment from Bopanna, who, if you remember, recently just made a little bit of history when he became the oldest male player to be atop the tennis rankings, the ATP doubles rankings, that is. He's now the top-ranked doubles player, male doubles player in the world. It's amazing that at 43, he's still not slowing down, still nowhere near retiring. And in fact, he himself has recently hinted that I'm not even thinking about it right now. I'm having so much fun on the tour and I want to continue playing. We hope Bopanna keeps playing and keeps bringing laurels to the country. And speaking of someone who's brought laurels to the country and is also, let's say, on the wrong side of an athlete's age, there's a bit of furor caused this morning early on when Mary Kom apparently announced her retirement, and the quote was that she's being forced to retire. That was the quote, and a lot of people ran with it saying that, oh, Mary Kom is retiring. She then put out a clarification saying, no, I am not making a retirement, and that if I was doing that, it wouldn't be at some random event somewhere. I would call all of my friends in the press and there'd be a proper press conference held. I'd put out a proper statement. So she's actually denied any rumors of that retirement, which on one hand is great, but on the other, you wonder just how much mileage it is that Mary has left. If she feels that there's more in the tank, it's great. But at this point, she can also hang up her gloves and still be considered a legend of the sport with the amount of accomplishments that she had. Of course, I'm no one to tell her when to hang up her gloves. If she still feels like she's got it, good for her, and it's good for fans as well, because Mary Kom is someone who you associate with Indian boxing as a whole. But that's it from us in this edition of the Morning Wrap of Sports today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell, leave us a comment, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Don't forget to download the Sports app, and if you're already on the channel, then go ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well, and stay tuned. Plenty more coming your way through the day. For now though, from my side, it's bye-bye.